Well, he thinks it's good enough for a second try. How's it going today, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be doing another batch of freeze-dried food, and we are going to be doing one of my favorite meals from Mountain House, which is chili mac. Except, of course, ours is going to be a lot better because it's homemade, and we can pick our portion size. So, I'm going to be using our regular chili recipe that I would normally use to make chili for the family, except I'm going to double the recipe, and then we are going to just simply add macaroni elbow noodles to it, and a little bit of cheese into that, mix it all up. We'll find out how much it makes, how much fits on the trays, and see how it freeze dries. So for this recipe, I actually got this recipe from Daniel at Arms Family Homestead, so if by chance you hop over to his channel, just mention this channel and, I don't know, maybe you'll get in contact with me. It'd be kind of cool. But this recipe is really simple, so I'll walk you through the ingredients, the steps I'm going to take, and we'll get to cooking. So the first thing we're going to do, and again, this is double the recipe from what I would normally make for a batch of chili. So for our freeze-dry recipe here, we're going to use 4 cans of the Hunt's fire-roasted diced tomatoes. We're going to need 2 cans of the tomato paste, and unfortunately I was not able to find the seasoning that he uses in his video. We just don't have it up here in Minnesota, so I'm just going to be using McCormick original recipe chili seasoning. So that's what we'll be using for that. Other than that, kind of the secret ingredient is V8 juice, so we'll be using this to adjust the consistency. I don't have this recipe wrote down. In his video, he mentions how much he uses, but I just adjust to the consistency you want in your chili. And then for the meat portion, I'm not going to be doubling the recipe for the meat. So this is how much meat I would normally use for the normal size recipe. However, being it's going to be freeze-dried and we have to try to have as low oil content as possible, I don't want to have too much meat in it, unfortunately. But I'm going to be using 2 pounds of ground beef that we source locally from a local farmer, and then 1 pound of the breakfast sausage that we made from our pigs we had processed last fall. So all kind of local homegrown meat. Other than that, the only other ingredient is, this is about equivalent to 2 chopped up onions. Just regular yellow onions or white or whatever flavor onion you like. I think they all taste the same to me, to be honest. Other than that, we're of course going to need our elbow noodles. I'll let you know how much we end up using. I'm going to kind of adjust to see what looks right. Again, I'm curious to find out how much fits on these trays, but by the end of the video, you will know how well this recipe fits on the 5 medium Harvest Right trays. Alright, so the first thing we're going to go ahead and do, nothing too crazy, we've just got a medium kettle here. We're going to go ahead and get our burger browning, our burger and our pork sausage, as well as we'll go ahead and season it up with we'll just put a little bit of salt and pepper in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and throw some garlic powder in there because, well, we like everything garlicky. So we'll go ahead and get this cooked. Now we need to make sure this is very well cooked. And then also, when we're done cooking this or browning this, we have to do a part that I absolutely hate doing because it just seems wrong. But we have to what I do is I obviously drain all the grease off, and then I put it in a colander and rinse all the meat in hot water to remove as much of the oil and grease and fat as we possibly can. And then we'll lay it out on a paper towel and kind of blot it dry from there. It seems gross. I hate doing it, but that's what you have to do for freeze drying. So we'll get that going, put some heat to it. We'll go ahead and add in our onion. You always want to add in onion when you are browning your burger because it'll cook the onion as it's going, kind of saute it in the grease, and that way you don't end up with crunchy onions in your chili. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. Go ahead and throw in a little salt and pepper. No particular recipe for that. We'll just kind of go to taste. Once we get all the chili actually going, if we need to add more salt and pepper, we certainly will. But for now, we'll just throw about that much in there. And then garlic powder. I don't think you can overdo garlic powder, honestly. So, for our family anyway, my family. So I'm gonna go ahead and we'll just put, you know, about that much in there. There we go. We'll go ahead and we'll get this all cooked up, done up real nice, and I will get back with you guys on the next step. All right, so we've got our burger and pork all cooked up here. Our onions are getting nice and soft. One thing I forgot to mention is I like to chop up my burger as fine as you possibly can, just to help make sure it pulls as much of the oil out, for one thing, but for two, that it can more easily absorb the moisture out of it when in the freeze drying process. So from here, we're gonna go ahead and do the straining, the rinsing, and then the blotting it dry. So we'll take it over to the sink, drain the grease off into a bowl, and then start rinsing it. First thing we'll do is just go ahead and drain the bulk of the grease off into a bowl here so it doesn't all go down our drain. Which actually, oh, that's hot. Doesn't look like there's, oh yeah, there's quite a bit in there. And this again is the part I hate doing, but we're gonna have to, we gotta rinse it in hot water. Fortunately, it can put a lot of grease down your sink, but it's just what I do, what we gotta do here, so. All right, we're gonna go ahead and call that good enough and let it drain. In the meantime, I'm gonna lay paper towels out on a tray here so we can put that out and kind of blot off as much moisture as possible. Obviously, if you're using this recipe just to make chili, you don't have to do this part. In fact, I would highly recommend you don't. All right, so we've got our burger mixture drained, rinsed, blotted dry. So there should be as little oil or grease in here as possible. So now's the part where it actually starts becoming chili. We're gonna go ahead, put in our 4 cans. These are just regular 14.5 ounce cans of fire roasted diced tomatoes. And then our 2 cans of, these are the, what are these? The 12 ounce cans of tomato paste. We're gonna go ahead and add in, I don't know, maybe 2 cups of our V8, original V8 juice. Just to give it some more liquid to start playing with. Well, I don't see a measuring cup. We're just gonna dump some in. We're gonna go with about that much to start, and we'll keep adding to it as it seems like we need it. And then in the original recipe, which again we're doubling it, calls for 2 packets of seasoning. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put in maybe 3 right now, and I'm not gonna do 4. I bought 4, but I'm gonna go ahead and put in 3 of them now. All right, I gotta be honest, things got out of hand. We've got the big pressure canner out because I did 3 large boxes of macaroni noodles, the 32 ounce boxes. That's a lot of pasta once it cooks. And I ended up using that entire jug of V8, all 4 packets of the chili seasoning. And we're gonna see what the ratio is here. Right now I'm kind of having a hard time getting all these noodles to cook. Probably should have done it in batches, but that's all right. They're getting there. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix it all together in this large pressure canner here. Obviously not using it as a pressure canner, we're just using it as a big pot because the little one I started with ran out of room. So we'll start adding the noodles in until we get the right consistency, noodle to sauce, or in this case to chili ratio. But I can guarantee you this is going to be way more than 5 medium trays. This is probably going to end up being more like, I don't know, maybe it'd be cool if it was 2 loads of 5 trays. That'd be pretty neat. That'd be perfect, but we'll see what we end up with. But I just thought I'd give you guys a quick update. That's where we're at. Pretty quick here, the noodles are just about done. We'll be able to mix the 2 things together. I'm going to throw in a few handfuls of shredded cheese, and then we'll get to putting it on the trays. We're going to go ahead and dump our chili into here, hopefully without making a huge giant mess. Oh yeah, yep. That's a mess. Let's see what we end up with. This is a big old pot of dinner though. And actually that's looking like that might be right. I don't want it to be too thin. I think we can add a little more pasta to it though. Alright, we're not going to get too carried away with the cheese, but it can't be really chili mac if there's not cheese in it, right? Let's put the rest of this bag in there. This is obviously just to your liking. That actually might be enough cheese right there. I'd say that was probably maybe around a cup of cheese. Not too much, but there is a little. So we'll go ahead and give it a taste test beforehand. See if we need to add anything here. It's definitely hot. That is so good. Oh, my kids are gonna love that. If I was making it just for my wife and I, we'd want it a little bit spicier, but again, I'm feeding my whole family and I've got a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, so we need things mild. So if you wanted it spicier, add some crushed red pepper in there, maybe some hot chili powder, but this is absolutely perfect for me. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one more mix and we'll start putting it on our trays. All right, so I went ahead and laid some parchment paper down on our trays. I'm still waiting for my silicone mats from Harvest Right. Not sure what the deal is. I ordered them like 3 weeks ago now, but whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and start laying this on here and we'll see how much we end up using. I'm gonna fill them up until they're level with the top of the trays. All right, I've got all our trays loaded up. We were left with, oh, I don't know, maybe about a meal's worth left in the bottom there. Maybe not quite a meal's worth. So I would say this recipe is about perfect to fill 5 medium Harvest Right trays. And then you have a little bit extra to have for dinner. So I call that perfect amount. Next thing I'm gonna do is I wanna go ahead and weigh all these trays. That way I'll know, for one, that they're consistent and even, so the dry time on them, you know, they should all be dry about the same time. And also to know how much water to reconstitute back in once they're done. So I'm gonna go ahead and press our tray dividers in to make 10 equal portions, and then we'll weigh them, and then they're ready to go in the pre-freeze. So let's go ahead and put our tray dividers in. All right, now these tray dividers are pretty cool if you've never seen them before. I got them from Freeze Dry Supply website. Fellow freeze dry YouTuber, I'm sure you've seen his videos if you're into freeze drying, but I have no affiliation with them whatsoever at all. And they do work as good as he talks about. They are awesome for doing stuff like this. So we're gonna go ahead and press them in. The only thing is when you push them in, the cross dividers like to try to pop out on you. So you just kind of gotta push in the center, but they work great. And cut right down through your pasta or whatever. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get a weight on all these trays. Now, I'm not gonna subtract the weight of the tray or the dividers because they'll be in there when I weigh it afterwards. So I'm gonna go ahead and weigh it in, I think, grains. All right, there you go. So I ended up putting all the trays to 2270 grains, give or take a little bit, but they're all at 2270. I'm gonna go ahead and pop our stacker lids on here, put it in the deep freeze and let these all freeze or at least chill out a while. I am gonna get these popped in the freeze dryer later tonight, but I'll get back with you guys when it's time to get them in the freeze dryer. All right, well, it is time to get our chili mac loaded into the Harvest Right freeze dryer. It's ran through its 15-minute cool down cycle. Our chili mac has been in the freezer for about 6 hours now, so it's well chilled. It's definitely not frozen, but it'll help a little bit. There's a little ice around the edges, so it'll help speed up the process a little bit. We'll get it all opened up here, show you guys before we load it in. So there it is. You can see it's starting to form a little ice on the top. Like I said, about 6 hours in the freezer, so ideally to make it completely frozen, you'd probably let it go, 24 hours overnight for sure, but I'm anxious to get it loaded in. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll hit continue. And it's begun freezing, so we've got our drain valve closed. I always want to make sure that. And as far as settings on this run, I'm just doing the factory settings, so it's I don't have a preset, has to get down to 10 below. The freeze time I want to say is auto set to 2 hours, 124 dry temp. And the only thing I change is I add 12 hours of extra dry time. That way if it gets done in the middle of the night when I'm not down here to get to it, obviously it'll run for 10 extra hours. Just gives me time and flexibility to get it taken out and kind of check it. So we'll get with you guys in who knows how long. I don't know how long this is going to take. I'm guessing quite a while. But we'll get with you when it's done and we'll do a taste test, so stick around. All right, guys, it has been 44 hours. It's been on extra dry time for 2 hours now. So what I'm going to do is something I've never tried before. So I'm going to grab my scale again. I'm going to take each tray out, weigh it, and then write down tray 1 through 5 on my little notepad here, and then put them back in for a few more hours, take them out, weigh them again, and that way I'll know if it's still pulling moisture out, and I'll continue to do that until it's no longer drawing moisture out. So that's what we're going to try. I've never done this method before to make sure it's dry, but I really want to on this because it is, they're so thick and there's a lot of food in there that I don't want to screw it up. So let's start pulling them out and weighing them, and we'll get a weight and see what they weigh after 44 hours. All right, we're going to start with tray 5 because it sits the lowest in here. Almost feels a little cool in the back yet. We'll see. 1107. I'll slide it back in. These feel warm all the way across. 1105, that's consistent. No, 06. Get you a look at them. They're looking good. Them dividers work great. They're separated away. I bet you these are dry though. They seem dry. Let's see. Ooh, this one's heavier. 1121. So we're going to close it back up, give it another few hours of dry time, and then we'll come back down and re-weigh it and see if it changes. All right, so it has been about another 4 hours since we weighed everything last time. So let's go ahead and weigh everything again, and we'll see if it's dry or not. We're only 2 numbers off. I'm calling it dry, especially being we ran it for another 4 hours. All right, so we've got all of our food is done, which looks absolutely awesome. So now the next thing that we're gonna go ahead and do is I wanna figure out portion sizes. So we've got them all divided into these nice cubes like this, and they feel powder dry, which is awesome. But what I'm gonna do is I have a Mountain House meal here, and they put 3.8 ounces in their chili mac. So I'm gonna try to match that. So we're gonna put a few squares in this bowl and see where we get 3.8 ounces. So here's 1, 1.4, 2 gets us to 3.0. Obviously it's gonna vary a little. And there's 4.6. Try to break 1 in half. So about 2.5 blocks will get us the 3.8 ounces of Mountain House. I think I'm just going to go ahead and put 3 of them in there. Because if I look in this bowl, so that'll give us a little more than Mountain House, but if you look in this bowl, I feel like if that was reconstituted down, that's gonna be about the perfect amount for a good meal. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and do 3 per pack. So yeah, let's go ahead and get it all packaged up. All right, guys, there you go. It's all packaged up. That made 16 packages of our freeze-dried chili mac. So if this was Mountain House sitting here, Mountain House is $10 to $12 per pack for their chili mac. We'll just figure $10, so that's $160 plus you got to pay tax and everything. So obviously this is way cheaper. It's going to be way better. But coming up next, we are going to have my family do a taste test on it, including my 3-year-old, and we'll see what she thinks of the chili mac. All right, so it is the next day and time that we try to do the taste test. So we're gonna go ahead and rip it open. According to the mathematicals, we need to put in a little over 1.5 cups. So the math came to 1.56 cups of water. So that's what we're gonna shoot for here. So first thing we'll do is go ahead and rip it open. Open her up here. Maybe. All right, so here it is. Take our oxygen absorber out. And we're gonna measure out 1.5 cups of water.
But we might need this, Dad.
Yeah, we don't need that anymore.
We don't need this?
No.
Oh.
All right, so we're a little over 1.5 cups of water. Go ahead and dump it in, mix it up, and we're gonna give it, I don't know, about 15 minutes. All right, let's see what it looked like. I'm putting it in a measuring cup here so we can get an idea how much it is once it's rehydrated. All right, let's see here. So it looks just like it did in the pot before we freeze dried it, and it made about right about 2 cups of chili mac here once it's rehydrated. So let's give her a taste test. Now I already know what this is supposed to taste like because I made it. Well, we made it, but we're gonna have my wife and kids try it and see what they think of it. But let's see if it came back to tasting like it did before we freeze dried it. Consistency changed a little bit. You can tell it's kind of blended together a little more, but it is very, very good. I'll have my wife try it and see if she thinks she would eat it. All right, let's see what you think. Be honest. She has not tried this yet at all.
It's really good.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. I really like it. Kinsley, come try it.
Well, she's going in for a second bite, so now we'll have my picky 3-year-old try it, and we'll see if she thinks she would eat it. All right, well, let's see if the kids like it. I know he's going to. He likes everything. All right, Kinsley, give it a try.
Look at he's going for mine.
You see what you think. Colty.
Ready?
Colton.
You like it?
You like it? Colton. Right here.
Oh, you didn't get the noodle.
You try? Well, he thinks it's good enough for a second try. You want another bite?
No.
No? Well, I'd say that's a pretty good start. So
You want more?
I think they like it. He definitely likes it. Do you like it?
Yeah?
Yeah? All right, perfect. All right, so off camera there, they both said they actually both really like it. Weren't just saying it for the camera, so that's good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There's gonna be a lot more freeze drying content coming up. We'll have the kids try it again. My wife give it another try. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Drop me a comment, tell me what you thought or what changes you think I should make. And until next time, you guys have a good one. Say bye.
Bye.